Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Chair now recognizes the gentlewoman from Nevada, Ms. Titus, for 5 minutes.
Oh, thank you very much. You heard I represent Nevada, and for over 3 decades, the federal government's left open the possibility of Yucca Mountain, and that means a lot of hazardous, high-level radioactive waste would be transported on trucks. Some might come on trains, but most will probably come on trucks. I wonder if you could maybe address if driverless vehicles should be allowed to carry hazardous materials, especially something as dangerous as nuclear waste. Anybody? Mr. Urmson? Or?
Congressman, I'll start. First of all, thank you for your leadership on autonomous vehicles, and Nevada has certainly been a national leader on this issue.
I was just out front on getting something through the legislature on these vehicles. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah. And certainly your state is seeing a lot of the benefits of that already. I would say I'm not aware of companies that are in the hazardous material space right now. I understand there are additional regulations that come with moving that, and so we would obviously need to comply with that. Happy to give you a sense of the market developments as they play out.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I would just say that, Congresswoman, when you look at hazardous materials, if you look at livestock, if you look at produce, there are certain things that can fall prey to certain conditions, so extreme heat, as you're well aware of in your state. So I also am not aware of anybody that is operating, autonomy with respect to hazardous, but I think there are a lot of applications that are going to come last once that technology has been fully adopted and deployed before we see it applied to things like hazardous materials, livestock, produce, things that are going to require the attention of a driver. There are just conditions that unfold unexpectedly that are going to need that driver's attention, which is why I think we're all saying that we need to work with our current and future driver force to make sure those applications have eyes on.
Thank you.
Absolutely not. Hazardous materials should not be transported by autonomous vehicles that are unproven, untested, and still unreliable. It's frankly scary enough to think about an 80,000-pound truck being driven autonomously. Think about putting hazardous materials in it. It could be catastrophic. So until we have the regulations and the safeguards that are needed put into place, there's no way that hazmat should be transported autonomously.
Thank you. Commercial trucks have to follow a lot of regulations and reporting a lot of data on safety. With the driverless vehicles, what kind of data should be reported and who should have access to that data?
So I can just talk about what we report today. So we report to federal and state officials. We're very transparent about it. As part of the standing general order, we've reported 3 incidents with our trucks. 2 of them were incidents where debris was thrown up and from the road by another truck on the road and hit one of our vehicles. The 3rd was an incident where we believe the operator of a light vehicle dozed off for a moment and then sideswiped across multiple lanes, contacted our truck, and then went off. And fortunately, everyone walked away. It's about as good a collision as you can have between a light vehicle and a truck. In that situation, I think it highlights, again, the available data. And we've shared this. We actually posted this, explained it, the response. If you look at the state of the art today in understanding these events, it's something like a driver monitoring system. And when you look at this event in that film, you have no idea what happened. At some moment, you see the driver tense, and that's it. With our technology, we're able to observe that other vehicle move across multiple lanes of traffic. We see our vehicle respond or begin to respond. Note the moment the collision occurred. Our vehicle immediately began its emergency response procedures. Our drivers very quickly thereafter took over to execute their response procedures. And we understood exactly what happened. And again, we've shared this transparently.
Congresswoman, I would echo what Mr. Urmson said about the standing general order. This is a robust data reporting regime that the autonomous vehicle has lived under for more than 2 years. This information is transparently available on the NHTSA website. This is something that policymakers can look at. Certainly, our industry shares this out whenever we can. I think the other piece that's really important is that 23 states have proactively allowed autonomous vehicles on their roads. And so in those states, including Nevada, where our members are operating, there is a deep level of engagement with state departments of transportation, with police forces. And so this is something that's it's very much a relationship that we want to continue to have, and something that I think we're very transparent about.
I know you'll have a few more seconds, but I just want to add that we think there needs to be even more transparency. The data collected by the Standing General Order is a step in the right direction, but there's a lot of redaction happening. So we don't really have a clear picture of what's happening on our roadways in terms of disengagements, crashes, and other incidents on the roadways.
Thank you. Something we don't have time to talk about, but I wonder about liability. Is it the person who makes the truck, person who's running the truck, person who owns the truck? How was all that insurance issue going to be resolved? Maybe we could talk about that another time. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.